Right now, historic gathering. President Trump announces Republicans will hold their first ever midterm convention in Dallas. Democrats react. The chairman of the Texas Democratic Party isn't impressed. And America 250, from art to a rare declaration of independence, a look at how the George W. Bush Presidential Center in Dallas is celebrating America's big birthday. Happy 4th of July holiday weekend. I'm Jack Fink. Get your fix for Texas politics. Eye on Politics on CBS News Texas starts now. Good morning and welcome to Eye on Politics. Hope your Sunday is off to a great start, and we're going to begin with one of the worst kept secrets recently. The Republicans will hold their first ever midterm convention in Dallas. The president made it official last week on his Truth Social account after previously bringing up his idea. It will be held September 9th and 10th at the American Airlines Center. I spoke one-on-one with the chairman of the Republican National Committee, Joe Gruters, about the convention. I began by asking him why they're holding their big gathering in Dallas.
Dallas, Texas is one of the president's favorite cities. It's right in the middle of everything. A lot of action going on, a lot of important races going on in Texas. But listen, we are so excited. It's going to be a Trumpapalooza. We're going to highlight all these amazing things that the president's doing, that the president's working on, all these ideas, policies, and people that are helping return America to greatness. And we're going to do it right there in Texas to help our candidates in the midterms moving forward. I think it will be great for our candidates. It's going to be right after the primary season, right before the general election. Ballots go out through absentee, and it's going to give us a chance to highlight all these great things that are going on within the party, and to showcase, really contrast what's happening with the Democrats and their obviously drift to the radical left, with all these candidates winning across the country on their side, winning their nominations that are not only communists, but these terrorist sympathizers. And we could really show the American people how important it is to make sure you continue to elect good people. And it should be frightening what you're seeing from the left.
Let's talk about the Texas Senate race. As you know, it's obviously gotten a lot of attention here in Texas, but nationwide as well. And the last 5 independent polls since Ken Paxton won the runoff show that it's virtually a tie. I was doing the averages, and Paxton's at 46%, Democrat James Tallarico at 45%. Should that be happening in Texas?
Texas is ruby red. We expect Ken Paxton to not only win, but win by a substantial margin. He's won in Texas before statewide. He won his primary by several 100,000 votes. We have full faith and confidence in him and his campaign, and we're helping him. I was with him last week for a couple of days, and we're going to make sure that he's successful. Because when you look at the contrast between him and Tallarico, it's a night and day difference. I don't think Texas is ready for a candidate that's as far left as Tallarico. And so as a result, I think Paxton will win. I think he'll win big.
So why do you think the polls are so close?
Listen, anytime you have a bruising primary like the Republicans did, and listen, these elections are tough and they're grueling and they're bruising. But at the end of the day, people know what's at stake, and they don't want somebody who's going to be a vegan, who thinks God is non-binary, who thinks there's 6 genders, who wants boys and girls locker rooms and playing girls sports. It's just not Texas.
We keep hearing from Texas officials that if they lose Texas, they lose the country.
Texas has done a great job with redistricting and putting the whole country in a position to be able to hold the majorities for both in both the House and the Senate to make sure we can give the president a full 4 years, because that's what this midterms is all about.
I also went one-on-one with Texas Democratic Party Chairman Kendall Scudder about his recent re-election victory, how he believes Democrats can win a statewide seat in November, and we asked him how he responds to the Republicans' midterm convention in Dallas.
They must be real scared, huh? They could have gone think about this, Jack. They could have gone anywhere in this country. There's all kinds of really raucous races. Iowa, Maine, Alaska, We see fights that are happening right now in Georgia, but they chose Texas. I think that should tell you something about their internal polling.
You were just reelected to 4 years. I'm wondering, it was a pretty overwhelming vote. Why do you think that is?
Because Democrats are tired of winning arguments. We're ready to win some elections. And that's what I think it's about. They're excited to see that we're organizing in 254 counties around this state, that we're not just camping out in major metros, that we're focusing on organizing, that we're focusing on our grassroots. For years, Democrats have thought that you could just lock a bunch of consultants in a room in Austin and buy your way out of this problem. That's just simply not the case. You have to be doing the work on the ground. Elections are not won top down; it's bottom up, and I think that's something that resonates with the grassroots of our party. They've been starving to be heard for a long time. We've been doing nothing over the last year except for winning elections when they come up all across the state of Texas. Whether that was mayor of Pearland, mayor of Leander, Cy-Fair Independent School Districts, SD9 in Tarrant County.
Yeah. The Texas Senate race is what everybody's talking about in Texas, and it's getting a lot of national play. And so I'm wondering, what is it going to take for Democrats to win this thing?
I think it's twofold. First is, the more people learn about Ken Paxton, the less they like him. He is the most corrupt politician in America. You don't just have to take my word for it. You can just look at his track record and it speaks for itself, okay? That's one piece. I think as the election goes further and further down the road, people are going to learn more and more about Ken Paxton and will continue to move away from him. Number two, the Democrats can't just always campaign on that guy's terrible. They also have to campaign on what we are going to do for people when we win. We are a party here in Texas, Texas Democrats, that ushered in the New Deal. John Nance Garner, Sam Rayburn, the GI Bill. We are the party of the Great Society, Medicare, Medicaid, expansions of Social Security under Lyndon Johnson. Texas Democrats are known to take on institutions to make them work for the little people. We've got to stop this limited thinking as Democrats, where we're just trying to stop what they're doing. We've got to get bigger. We got to get bolder, right? So not just there, start looking at things that James Tallarico is doing. He's already put forward initiatives, giant anti-corruption legislation that he's going to introduce first thing when he gets elected. Not just to make sure that a couple things get fixed, but that the whole system is overhauled so that we can root out corruption. That's, to me, the mentality that our party needs to start adopting. They've gotten into this kind of loser mentality of just trying to figure out how to survive. As a party, these folks in Texas are looking for leaders that have solutions for their problems, and that's what I'm wanting the party to do.
The Texas Democrats wrapped up their state party convention last weekend in Corpus Christi. Among the prominent speakers, gubernatorial candidate Gina Hinojosa, Senate candidate James Tallarico, and former presidential candidate and Vermont senior U.S. Senator Bernie Sanders.
We must hold Donald Trump, his administration, and the entire Republican Party, who control the White House, control the Senate, control the U.S. House. We are going to hold them accountable for their disastrous policies.
During his speech, James Tallarico went after Republican Ken Paxton as they battle for the now open Texas Senate seat. Tallarico compared Paxton to an obnoxious guy in the bar who no one likes.
He hears you say your name to the bartender and then adds his drink to your tab when you're not looking. That's Ken Paxton. And I don't know about y'all, but I'm done picking up his tab.
During her speech at the Democratic convention, Hinojosa blasted Abbott on what has become a very big issue here in Texas, particularly in rural Texas, a Republican stronghold. We're talking about data centers.
Greg Abbott built the biggest data center giveaway in the whole country. The richest men in the world, his donors, are running up your electric bill, guzzling up your water while you pay for it. And now that I am running against him, he wants us all to forget that he sold the farm for cheap in a fire sale. And nobody believes the arsonist will put out the fire.
Governor Abbott made headlines a few days after her speech, saying at an East Texas campaign stop that he doesn't want AI data centers being built in rural Texas. His new comments come after he recently called for more regulations on data centers.
Pushing back against these AI data centers that are trying to build in our neighborhoods. I've made clear already, any AI data center even thinking about coming here, they got to bring their own money, bring their own power, reuse their own water, and do it in a way that reduces the cost of electricity for residents across our state. We must prohibit them from building AI data centers in rural Texas neighborhoods, and we must eliminate the tax break they are getting that must be responsible for funding their own projects here in Texas. We will get that done.
The governor wants lawmakers to codify his proposals and revoke the state sales tax incentives for those who built data centers. Acting Texas Comptroller Kelly Hancock has submitted his resignation letter to Governor Abbott, and it didn't take long for the governor to appoint a successor. Don Huffines, the Republican nominee for Comptroller, will assume the role starting August 1st. That is the day after Hancock will leave office. Huffines, the former state senator from Dallas, defeated Hancock and Railroad Commissioner Christy Craddock back in March and will go up against Democratic State Senator Sarah Eckhart of Austin in November in his effort to win the job from voters full time. Hancock has overseen the implementation of the $1 billion taxpayer-funded education savings accounts program that helps pay students to attend private schools. The U.S. Supreme Court wrapped its 2025-2026 term with major rulings on transgender athletes and President Trump's effort to end birthright citizenship. Sarah Jenkins has the brief.
In a 6-3 ruling, the court upheld laws in West Virginia and Idaho that bar transgender athletes from competing on girls' and women's sports teams. The conservative majority said states can base athletic eligibility on biological sex under both Title IX and the Equal Protection Clause. The decision leaves similar laws in place in more than 24 states. The court struck down President Trump's executive order aimed at ending birthright citizenship. A 6-justice majority found the order violated the 14th Amendment, reaffirming that nearly all children born in the United States are citizens, regardless of their parents' immigration status. The rulings cap a closely watched Supreme Court term and could have lasting legal and political implications as the country heads toward the 2026 midterm elections. For The Brief, I'm Sarah Jenkins.
Welcome back to Eye on Politics. It was 1 year ago this weekend, tragedy struck in the Texas Hill Country. Devastating floods claimed the lives of more than 130 people. Most of the deaths took place in Kerr County. Among those, the 25 campers and 2 counselors at Camp Mystic, who have come to be known as the Heavens 27. The rebuild has been emotional, slow, and costly, and at the same time, new safety systems are just now rolling out. Investigative reporter Brian New has been tracking the recovery this past year. Brian, aside from the immeasurable loss of life, last July's disaster cost more than $18 billion in damage, but you found most of the victims are rebuilding without flood insurance.
Yeah, that's right, Jack. Only about 2% of homes in Kerr County have flood insurance, so most of these people that lost everything are rebuilding without that safety net.
I mean, 2%, that's a wow. Why so low?
A lot of it comes down to the cost. For people, most of these policies are through a federal program. FEMA changed the pricing system, Jack, a few years ago to better reflect real risk. But that meant higher premiums for many homeowners. The average premium in Kerr County is now around $1,500 a year, and that coverage is capped at $250,000.
So this trend that we're seeing of higher premiums, fewer policyholders, do you see this changing at all?
Lawmakers say they want to fix it because right now it's simply not working, but the program is already $22 billion in debt, so lowering prices isn't simple. And without lower costs, it's kind of hard to see that more people are going to sign up and buy insurance.
Yeah, right after the floods, Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick came on our air and he promised these flood sirens before this summer. Did that happen?
It did, at least partly. The state approved that $50 million plan for outdoor warning sirens. And a couple of months ago, the first 8 sirens were installed along the Guadalupe River. About 30 additional Hill Country counties have now applied for funding. Many of those are still trying to figure out exactly where they're going to put these sirens.
And you were just in Kerr County, a month ago, right? Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so what are the people there saying about the sirens?
It's a mixed reaction. A lot of people are saying that these sirens alone aren't going to fix the problem. What they say is really needed, and what Kerr County is working on is a more sophisticated system, a system with sensors up and down the river, using real-time data to send out alerts, not just to sirens, but also to cell phones.
Wow. And I guess that this is a big, complex problem that they've got to try to solve.
Yeah, that's what residents say. It's not as simple as sirens alone, that it is a complex problem that's going to take some time and additional funds.
All right, Brian New, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. And you can watch all of Brian's full reporting on this, the full investigation, on CBSNewsTexas.com. Just go to the iTeam section. We're going to take a break, and we will be right back. A big birthday for the United States this weekend. America turned 250 years old yesterday. We went to the George W. Bush Presidential Center in Dallas, where they have a rare copy of the Declaration of Independence on display and metalworks of the American flag by internationally renowned artist George Tobolowsky of Dallas. I spoke with Lindsay Richardson, curator of exhibitions and collections at the Bush Center.
We have been talking about it for a long time. We're very excited to have behind me Tobolowsky's sculptures in front of the Bush Center are all of different versions of the American flag.
How he created them with this metal, it's just fascinating. Talk to me about that.
He uses found objects, and he's very specific. They must be made in America. So a lot of the flags have stripes that are made of these gigantic wrenches that are used to repair American tractors.
And, you know, one of them, you were telling me, there's a big frame, and it's the piece is called Under Attack.
Yes.
And the frame is from the San Antonio Bomb Squad training site.
That's right. He found this steel beam that looked like it had been heavily mistreated. And he used it as the frame for Under Attack. And if you read his labels, he will tell you what each of the flags that he's made means. It's a variation on our flag and our story.
We also have a rare edition of the Declaration of Independence. And this is what's regarded as the Force edition. They're very rare. So talk to me about the significance of that.
It actually started in 1820 when then Secretary of State John Quincy Adams asked a local printer named William Stone to make a metal plate engraving of the original paper document, because even in 1820, that poor document was beginning to show signs of age. So he spent several years on that engraving. His friend, Peter Force, who was another local printer, became the mayor of Washington, D.C. in 1836. And he started working on a book called American Archives. And he asked William Stone if he could use his engraving of the original Declaration of Independence to include in his book. There were several hundred copies made. We're not exactly sure how many. But those that survive, that's the image that most of us think of when you call to mind the Declaration of Independence, is this particular engraving of the original paper document.
And of course, this was the foundational document for our country. The words always stick out to me. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Well, I think it's taken our country some twists and turns to truly get there. But I believe that, that embodies the spirit of our nation and the people who live here, that we are able to live as we want to and enjoy our freedoms and have that as a part of our life.
To think about the awesomeness of that and the sacrifices that were made to give us that.
It's pretty exciting to have it here this particular weekend. There are so many people in town, our locals, our visitors. We hope they'll come and visit us and see the Declaration of Independence on this particular weekend when it's historically resonant.
This has been on display this holiday weekend, but heads up, it ends today. And aside from America's big birthday, it's also a big birthday for the former president. Mr. Bush will turn 80 years old tomorrow, July 6th. The Bush Center tells us they will celebrate with cake midday tomorrow. The former president, though, will not be there. Happy birthday to him. And remember, you can watch our full interviews from today's show on the CBS Texas YouTube page. And while you're there, go to the Eye on Politics playlist and hit the subscribe button. And that's all for Eye on Politics today. I'm Jack Fink. I am listening, and we are listening to you at CBS News Texas. Thank you so much for watching, and from all of us here, have a great holiday weekend.